Hi guys, I've been wanting to talk about Pluto since it dropped a couple weeks ago, and I wasn't sure how to go about it, but I got major inspiration, lists, and numbers. Some of my favorite things that exist, honestly. This review style is inspired by Coney's game reviews on Twitter. I just really like the simplicity of it, so I'm stealing it like a little raccoon or sewer rat or something like that. Of course, I gotta change those categories that he has, so I've come up with this. 5 categories, each one is ranked from 1 to 5. All the score definitions are on the screen right here. Go ahead and check those out, but we're gonna jump into it now. To start off, before I give my opinion on anything, I think it's important for me to set the stage and kind of explain what this anime is about, if you don't already know. Robots are fully integrated into everyday life, not only to do the jobs that nobody wants to do, but also to do stuff like detective work, and that is the character we follow. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this guy's name, but he is the best detective around, okay? He hops into the crime scene and boom, crime solved, okay? That's the kind of guy we're dealing with here. But he's hit a wall. There's this series of crimes against robots and people who advocate for robot rights, all with nothing but rubble and these horns erected from the victims. The story is fantastic and honestly makes you feel like you're watching one of those classic anime again. It especially helps because there's little to no filler in this anime. Just this nice, concise 1-hour episodes, 8 episodes. Story wraps completely up. It's fantastic. I think the best thing anime can do right now is fucking end. So it definitely gets bonus points for actually being finished. Everything in this anime feels so fleshed out and just feels like it has existed for a while. There's history, there's wars, there's like past criminals. It makes me want to talk about the characters right here, but just hold on for 1 second. We'll get to those characters that I'm talking about. I love when an anime has overarching themes that are teased really early on in the anime. I can think of a couple examples of that in this show, and then they pay off in these incredible final eldritch episodes. It seriously feels like a Lovecraft horror, the way that these people's minds just get completely messed up. Stop squeaking! It's an incredible ride and honestly definitely deserves the 5 points that I afforded it for this section. I love how the characters in this anime are a look into the aspects of humanity, ironically. Power and pride, kindness, artistic connection, and hatred. I'm sure there's separate sort of overarching themes for, Adam and the main character, but as of first watch, not something that immediately struck me. But let's talk about some of these robots. North Mark II was something that really surprised me. A renowned blind piano player in the middle of nowhere, Switzerland, hires a new butler to kind of help him through his everyday life while he's finishing his masterpiece. The robot serves as he needs to for this guy, but eventually takes kind of a liking to playing the piano and tries to get the piano master to help him learn. The piano guy is not okay with this at all. He's like, robots should be able to make music. It is about the human connection. It's about human existence. It's, all that stuff. Side note, this is how I imagine Rivers Cuomo listens to Radiohead. I'm not going to spoil how the storyline turns out, but I think that this aspect of the show, this episode or whatever it is a 10 out of 10. I loved it so much. You guys know I love when anime talks about expressing art or making art in some way. It's my favorite. It is just one of my favorite things that anime does. So let's go ahead and talk about art actually. As for characters, I am ranking it a 4. To me, the best aspect of this anime is its art. I love the mangaka's style, and I love how the show is essentially all fan art because this is all characters based off of, the fuck is it called? Atom Boy? Astro Boy. I knew that. I knew it was called Astro Boy, by the way. I also think that it's cool that this guy's art is kind of just like all old people. Like there's not like a lot of young people besides the 2 kids. It's nice that they're not trying to make every character like as beautiful as possible just so that there's fans of those characters, if that makes sense. It kind of lets the writing and the story and the world kind of speak for itself. I love it. I particularly love how they did Adam. I think that the connection to Astro Boy with the hair is, I think it's cute. It's cool. Also, Mr. Hoffman for some reason stands out to me. I like his glasses and his hairstyle. I think I like him. I like how he is. Oh, and of course Brow, or however you say this guy's name. Even just in design, like his story tells you so much. His design tells you so much about his story, I should say. Also, the backgrounds, or I feel like I should say like the atmosphere, because it doesn't feel like it's just painted on backgrounds. It feels like an area that you could go and explore yourself. It feels so vast and important, and it's not just something to play over the top of, if that makes sense. And of course, the animation. Honestly, it speaks for itself, but sometimes you need a loser online to tell you it slaps. It slaps. It's so fluid and flowy and overproduced. Honestly, kind of thematic if you think about it. It's actually incredible. I'm gonna rank this an easy 5. Next is sound. I honestly don't have a whole lot to say about the soundtrack. I think it's really good, and it shows it how good it is during that piano arc that I was talking about, because it almost makes his music feel like a live part of the anime, and I just love that. I think mostly when I listen to soundtracks, I kind of like a more like goofy or maybe like stylized sort of soundtrack that's like super reminiscent of the anime itself, if that makes sense. I think if you played me one of the songs from the soundtrack, I couldn't really place where it's from, but it is quality. It kind of reminds me of Studio Ghibli as well. And Ghibli makes amazing soundtracks. Everybody fucking loves Ghibli soundtracks. And then my last point is I think it's a bit of a cop-out to not make an intro or an outro, or at least like a proper one. To me, the way that read is like, oh, we're too serious and important to make an intro or outro. But look at like Attack on Titan. Everybody fucking loves those. Everybody takes those anime super seriously. Whatever. It's a 4. It's a 4. Again, this is going to be a short one, but I'm going to kind of explain why I even added this into my consideration. Whenever I look at those top echelon anime, I think I have something that I relate with, whether it be just something that I'm overly interested in or something that a character goes through that I find relatable or something like that. So that's why I added it here. This one, I generally don't really care very much for sci-fi or like the whole overarching idea of AI. It's just like not something that really interests me. The anime really actually grabbed me and got me to care about the anime despite those things. And I'm not surprised by that at all. But because it's kind of middle of the road, I'm going with a 3 for that one. Alright, so this anime scored a 4.2, and I do kind of just want to say this is the first time I'm doing this, so it might change and evolve over time if I continue to do this sort of thing. If it feels like it's too high or too low, it might change with time. It just might. That's just kind of how things work. But just looking at it flat out, I think 4.2 is actually a really good score. Like, I think that's a very fair one. Okay, subscribe if you support small YouTubers. Bye.